I want to talk about some common misconceptions that I hear and see around Pilates. The first one I would say is that people often think that Pilates is for women. And as I've already alluded to at the beginning of this video, it was actually developed by a man called Joseph Pilates. And I spoke a little bit more about Joseph's history in the video before this. So Pilates is for everybody. It's for everybody, all genders, all shapes and sizes and abilities as well. It was developed as a rehabilitation tool, developed as a rehabilitation tool. So that is to say, it's an exercise that is really accessible for all. And because it's so wonderful in terms of the modifications you can make, there's always modifications that we can do to make it so it is accessible for all. So no, Pilates is not just for women. A second misconception I often see is that Pilates, you need to be strong to do Pilates, or you need to be flexible to do Pilates, or you need to be fit to do Pilates. This is why we do Pilates. Like, this is the objective. Pilates helps us build all these things. It helps us build our strength, our endurance, our flexibility. So no, you don't have to be these things before you start Pilates. Pilates is something that can help you to build those things up. So it might mean that when you're first starting out, the muscles are a little bit more sore than they would usually be, you know, once they're getting used to the new movements. But no, you absolutely don't need to feel like you have to go and do specific training before you got onto the Pilates mat. So no, you don't need to be strong or flexible to do Pilates. So another common misconception I hear is that Pilates is just stretching. I think this is where Pilates and yoga, there is a little bit of overlap in terms of Joseph Pilates did take some inspiration from yoga. So there are a few things that may look similar to yoga moves, but they are very different. Pilates, we don't tend to hold moves as such. There tends to be repetitions and there's movement. And so it's not quote unquote just stretching, although I will say there are some moves that you do where you may feel a wonderful stretch, but that's not what Pilates is. Pilates is a system or a series of movement and exercises where you've normally got something stabilizing and then another body part is moving to challenge that stability of another part of your body, right? So for example, let me say that a little bit clearer. So for example, one leg circle. You'll have one leg still. You'll try and keep your pelvis nice and still. And then the other leg is either up in your tabletop position or reaching up towards the ceiling, and you'll be circling that leg around what's trying to keep shoulders, rib cage, and maybe even that leg nice and stable. So that's what Pilates is about. It's about building that stability and that muscular endurance and strength. And yes, there is an element of flexibility, but that doesn't come from, quote unquote, just doing stretches. So I don't know why I didn't start with this one, but the thing I always hear is like, oh, you teach Pilates, that's really good for your core. And whilst that's not untrue, I find that oftentimes when people say the word core, they're not really thinking truly what the core muscles are. So in fact, my mentor, Jo Cobb, which you've seen a few interviews that I've done with Joanne in the past, she would shudder if she heard that I was using the word core in my Pilates class. She doesn't like us to use the word core. And that's because it's oversimplified. So when people say engage your core, everyone is going to think about their abdominal muscles at the front of their body, the one that we often talk about when we refer to a six-pack. But actually your core muscles are way more than just your rectus abdominis. So you've got your erector, you've got your back extensors, the big muscle groups that run along each side of your spine, your glutes. So some people even include the glutes as part of your core muscles, your interior and exterior oblique muscles. All of these muscles and more, definitely haven't named them all make up your core muscles. So whilst technically, yes, Pilates does strengthen your core muscles, when we say core, people are often only referring to the front of their body. They're not thinking about all the other muscles that make up the core group of muscles. Another misconception that I hear, and there are definitely hashtags that allude to this, that Pilates will give me a Pilates body, whatever that means. But like if you think about marathon runners and how they all look different, and just generally, if you look at bodies, all bodies come in different shapes and sizes. And so Pilates isn't this I don't want to say magical, because that's not even quite the right term that I want to use either, but Pilates isn't this series of exercises that's going to give everyone the same body. It is going to maybe give you muscle definition. You might see that as muscles become stronger. Some of us might see muscle definition in certain places where we didn't have it before. But this idea of like Pilates creating this Pilates body is a massive misconception, and it really takes away from its original intention. The original intention of Pilates was to build strength and mobility and flexibility. It wasn't about aesthetics. It's never been about aesthetics. And so, as you could tell, I'm quite passionate about maintaining that Pilates is about helping you move better, helping you build better physical health, and also helping you build that mind-body connection with what we've got, you know, within our own capabilities and limitations that we may or may not have. So no, Pilates won't help you build a Pilates body. And in fact, in my next video, I'm going to be speaking about body image and Pilates, and how Pilates can help you work how it can help you if you're on a journey to having a better relationship with your body and with exercise. So I'll see you then.